Hey everyone, welcome to another training video in MD-102 Microsoft 365 Endpoint Administrator series. In this video, I will cover Learning Path 8, that is to deploy the Windows devices using the cloud-based tools. I have already done a video on deploy devices using Windows Autopilot. This video covers the second module, Implement Dynamic Deployment Methods. I will do the videos on rest of the modules shortly. If you are new to the channel, do subscribe it for latest updates. My name is Navneet Kumar and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. Talking about the dynamic deployment methods, it is used to focus on automating and streamlining the deployment process for Windows devices in various organizational environments. This approach minimizes the manual intervention and leverages the modern management tools to ensure a faster and more efficient deployment. Well, the module has a list of lessons. In this module, I will cover examine subscription activation, deploy using provisioning packages, we'll talk about the Windows configuration designer, and finally use Microsoft Entra join with automatic MDM enrollment. Talking about dynamic provisioning methods, there are many steps. Number one is the subscription activation. What is subscription activation? It actually allows users to activate the Windows 10 or 11 devices by linking them to the organization's subscriptions like the Microsoft 365 or the Entra ID. How it works? The devices are connected to Entra ID, enabling the automatic configuration, device management, and policy applications. The use cases for this subscription activation is the common scenarios where users need a zero-touch deployment for business or personal devices that will be managed through the Microsoft Intune or the MDM solutions. Next is mobile device management. The mobile device management involves the tools like Microsoft Intune to manage and secure these devices. The devices are automatically enrolled into MDM system for configuration, application deployment, and security policy enforcement. We use it in scenarios where we want to manage the corporate owned or bring your own devices with a focus on security and the compliance. Finally, the provisioning package. A provisioning package is a customized configuration file. We use it in Windows Configuration Designer that is applied to the device to set up specific settings and the configurations. The package can configure network settings, join the devices to Entra ID, install the applications, and apply the other configuration settings required. It can be applied during the out-of-box experience or after the device is up and running. It is good to use in smaller scale or one-off device setup environments. This allows IT admins to automate initial configurations without full deployment tools like Autopilot or MDM. These dynamic provisioning methods enable the flexible and automated device setup. It makes it easier for organizations to deploy and manage the Windows devices efficiently. Examine the subscription activation. It is actually required to comply with licensing requirements. Organizations need to ensure they are using the correct licensing methods to meet the Microsoft's legal and operational requirements for software deployment and the usage. The current volume activation method are multiple methods that are offered by Microsoft for activating the multiple copies of Windows in a large organization. Here are some of these volume activation methods like key management service, KMS. It's a very old technique. A server based activation method where managing volume licenses within an organization is done through this. It automatically activates the devices within the network without needing to contact the Microsoft servers. Multiple activation keys is a method where a single key can activate a set of number of devices. It requires the internet access to validate the activation against the Microsoft servers. Active Directory based activation. This method leverages the Active Directory to activate the Windows devices when they are connected to the network, making this activation seamless for domain-joined devices. Windows Pro can be upgraded to Enterprise without reinstall or reboot as well. You can upgrade from the Pro to Windows Enterprise without having to reinstall the operating system or rebooting the device. The upgrade is smooth and does not require a fresh installation. That is beneficial for business needing additional features without downtime. Subscription activation requirements are: for subscription activation to work, the conditions that are required are Windows Pro, Pro, Education, Enterprise, or Education must be installed and activated. An instance of Microsoft Entra ID is required for identity management, especially for device authentication. Devices must be Microsoft Entra joined or hybrid Microsoft Entra joined. That lets you connect the both on-prem and Active Directory environments. VDA subscriptions activation. We use the virtual desktop access activation, which allows the users to access virtual desktops or the applications. This requires the subscription activation to enable the remote access and ensure the compliance with Microsoft licensing for virtual environments. Deploy using provisioning packages. If you want to deploy the configurations using these provisioning packages during the out-of-box experience or later when the device is up and running, this provisioning package applies the configuration settings to Windows 10 or later devices using either removable media or downloaded directly. Useful for bring your own device scenarios with limited connectivity. We have these things that we can apply, be it installed software removal, management enrollment, offline content, connectivity settings, addition, upgrade, adding the applications, browser settings, policies, certificate management, account setup, user interface customization, and assigned access. All these can be managed through the provisioning packages. The Windows Configuration Designer is a tool that allows the IT administrators to easily create and configure the custom provisioning packages. We can create them for Windows devices. We can use the Windows Configuration Designer for many of the things, like creating custom configurations. IT admins can define the specific settings for devices like the network settings, Wi-Fi settings, domain join, and many more. We can apply during the setup. The tool generates a provisioning package that can be applied during the out-of-box experience or later. It simplifies the setup process for the users. No reinstallation required. It allows you to customize and configure devices without reinstalling the operating system. It makes it easier to deploy devices quickly. It lets you do the device personalization. It can be used to add branding, apps, and other personalized settings during the device setup. If I talk about the use cases, it is ideal for small-scale deployments or when you need a quick, simple way to set up and configure the Windows devices without complex IT infrastructure or deployment tools. Microsoft Entra Join with automatic MDM enrollment lets you enroll the devices which are registered with Entra ID or joined to Entra ID to MDM. It is a similar concept to joining an Active Directory domain service domain in on-premises. It simplifies the provisioning and support scenarios versus using on-prem methods. It applies to both the bring your own device or the corporate owned devices. Using Microsoft Entra or MDM, you can join devices to Microsoft Entra automatically, auto-enroll your users' devices into the MDM services, and configure the joined devices by using the MDM policies, which has been already covered in the previous modules and the topics, where I have demonstrated you how you can enroll the devices to Intune automatically, which are registered with Entra ID. This brings to the end of this module. I hope this was informative to you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video of the module.